What's up, everybody? My name's Nick, and I am here with the Latrodectus variolus. So since, it's October, Halloween's coming up, why not show you all the spookiest spider out there? Or is it? You see, I made a video a couple months back finding these guys in the wild, or these girls in the wild. And I gotta say, when I walked into dealing with these and working and handling with them, I came into it with a fear because you hear all this stuff about how they're the most venomous spider and everything, which they are in North America. But there's just so much, fear mongering about these spiders. And I was totally proven wrong. I'm no zoologist. I took zoology in high school. This is just my passion. I do my own research, which you should too. But I was completely wrong about them. They're really so misunderstood, and they're really one of the coolest arachnids, I think, out there. So right here, this is my specimen. This is Charlotte. She is my northern black widow. And I gotta say, she's one of the most interesting to watch, you know what I mean? To feed, to handle. It's just cool seeing how she moves and how she takes down her prey. It's just one of the coolest experiences that you can possibly have owning a spider, really. Now let me make something clear. This video, when I'm explaining that these aren't the scariest spiders, I'm not saying that you should be out there holding them and everything. You're still gonna have a bad time if you get bit. You're probably not gonna die unless you're allergic to, the venom, or, you're a small kid or like really elderly, you know what I mean? But you're still not gonna have a fun time. This is not something you wanna get bit by. However, let's not be afraid of them, because there's really no reason to be. Alrighty, y'all, let's go ahead and get into some basic facts. So, the black widows, there's males and females. So females are the ones that are usually bigger. They are black and they're like the most well-known. If you think of a black widow, you're probably thinking of the female. They have the hourglass shape on the underside of their abdomen. Males are smaller and they're usually a brown color. People talk about the name black widow because they eat the males after mating. But this isn't necessarily true. That is sort of a myth. So most often when we think of female black widows eating males, most of the research is actually done in laboratories where that happens because they can't really escape each other. In the wild, a lot of the time the males actually live. Now, they do have a shorter lifespan, but that doesn't mean necessarily that they're eaten every time after mating. It does occur, it will happen, but not all the time, not every time. While we're talking about myths, let's go ahead and get the big one out of the way. That this spider will kill you. No, not really. The venom, which is a neurotoxic venom that these spiders carry, is potent. But you have a very, 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 very high chance of survival. In fact, the last recorded death from a black widow was in 1983. Now, depending on if it was from a bacterial infection from the bite or from some sort of necrosis, which doesn't really happen either, it couldn't have just been the black widow bite. There's other factors that lead into their bites, like bacteria, infection, all that. I'm not particularly sure on that. I would have to do more research. I implore you all to do your own research on that and let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But you don't really die from these guys. And in fact, bites, they're super, super rare anyway. So the other myth is that these spiders are aggressive and they will bite you. That is completely false. These spiders, most spiders, all spiders, want absolutely nothing to do with you. You are a bigger predator than them. They want absolutely nothing to do with you. They don't want to die. It's basically what it is. So the energy it takes to produce the venom that they have is a whole lot. They don't want to waste that venom on something that they can't eat. And sure, it is for defense, but they just really don't want to waste that energy on you. It's just, they just don't want to. They're not going to chase after you and follow you until they get a bite. That's just not going to happen. In fact, there are several videos of people handling them and they get no bites at all. And when you do see bites, it's usually because people are like pressing them down on themselves and they want them to bite for YouTube, videos. Or if you accidentally like roll over on one when you're camping, or somehow it gets in your house and you're sleeping and you roll over on one and you kind of crush it, then they will bite. But even then, it's not really a big deal unless you're allergic to the venom or you have underlying health conditions. And that, by the way, the handling part, you should still not do. I mean, the venom is not good for your health still. You'll get very sick. It gives you nausea, stomach pain, back pain, all that. In fact, there's a video online of this guy getting bit by one, and you can tell he just looks like he got hit by a truck. Not a good time. Link to that video will be in the description below, in case you're curious on what a bite is actually like, but you're not going to die. These are by no means aggressive spiders towards humans at all. In fact, when you really watch them eat and, just watch them move around, they're very tactical with how they approach their prey. They're very, very cautious spiders. Every time I have fed her, usually like a mealworm, a dubia, a cricket, she's always super, super cautious about how she approaches it and what she does. But it's just it's very, very interesting to watch them eat. Another myth I bet you didn't know is that they don't always just have an hourglass. They have multiple markings on the top of their abdomen. In fact, my northern here, she has a bunch of red markings on the top, little dots. Now let's get into some fun facts about these guys. So their webs are insanely strong. These guys spin these webs in their enclosure and they are up to 4 times stronger than steel. Yes, steel. Now the official level of the scale that they are at is a 1.1 GPA, and that basically measures just material strength. These webs are stronger than most metals, which is insane. It's actually very similar to Kevlar, which is used in the vests, anti-bullet vests, bulletproof vests, whatever, which is super, super cool. In fact, these webs are so strong that they can catch prey way bigger than them. In fact, they've been known to eat giant bugs, small snakes even. It is always super, super cool to learn about them. So in the wild, most of the time, you're gonna find them on the ground, lower to the ground. They're gonna make all these huge webs all over where they're hiding. And you'll mostly find them in brush. If they're in a building, they're gonna be in the very bottom corners or in between wood. If you do come across one of these in the wild, please don't kill it. There's no reason to. These are very, very good at catching other insects that you probably don't want around in your household. They are apex predators. If you find one in your house, the best way to really get rid of them, I guess, is you can grab a small cup, like a deli cup. That's what I've used before with spiders. And you can just kind of coax them in there, shut the lid, let them go outside. That's it. There's no reason to kill these beautiful arachnids, really. But anyway, guys, that is my short video on why you should not be afraid of these beautiful, beautiful spiders. They are just incredible. And if you're wanting to keep one, which, I recommend it. They're super, super intelligent, and they are insane to watch. Just incredible spiders. Low maintenance, you know, you can usually tell when to feed them, which is like every week or two. When their abdomen starts to swell down, you'll see that she has a very, very big abdomen. That's because I just fed her yesterday. So they're easy spiders to take care of. All that I ask is don't try to handle them. Even though you can and you probably won't get bit, is that really a risk that you're wanting to take? I wouldn't. I don't want to be stuck at home in bed, puking and throwing up and in pain. Well, all right, guys, that's my video. Thank you for watching, and thanks for learning about these incredible arachnids. If you like the video, like, subscribe for more content just like this, and I will see you all later. Peace.